विधे परमादर।
Dear viewers, Ayurveda, the knowledge of life and longevity, is perhaps the oldest existing body of knowledge on the healing process. It is not merely a medical system, it is a way of life. This knowledge system deals with not only the problems of the body and mind, but also that of the human spirit and consciousness. In these days of changing paradigms, when Western science is looking to Eastern logic and spirituality to find solutions to physical, mental, spiritual and social problems, it is important for us to rediscover this holistic thought process in the interest of humanity at large. It is our humble attempt through this series to bring Ayurveda and its allied knowledge systems into your homes and hearts. We hope we have your blessings in this purposeful journey of ours. In this high-tech age, modern medical treatment has become unbearably expensive for the common man. Even for minor health problems, if one has to have major tests carried out, it certainly pinches one's pocket very badly. Dr. Deepak Chopra, now renowned for his alternative medicine approach, centered on Indian knowledge systems, has written about a personal experience of his when he was a young practicing allopathy. In The Return of the Rishi, Dr. Deepak Chopra writes, "I am not trying to say that Western medicine is heartless or that it insists upon needless suffering. The point involves rationality. Is it rational to hunt down a test result no matter what the cost? Is it irrational to consider a patient's personal situation, looking at his age, general health, emotional state, and above all, whether he feels well? Many elderly people die of natural causes, completely unaware of the cancerous nodules that are present in their old bodies."
Diagnostic tools are application of physics, right? A magnetic resonance scan, MRI, is a physical thing, or a computerized tomography is a physical thing. There is nothing allopathic about it. So if you are able to incorporate these basic sciences like physics, chemistry, biology and use them to explain Ayurvedic principles, it is perfectly possible. It's like looking at a particular thing from your point of training. If you consider this body as a physical entity, as a physicist, you would think of it from a different view. You would go by weight, volume, inertia, other electromagnetic properties and all that. But if you are a chemist, you would look at it from a different point. Both of you will be right. Similarly, as an Ayurvedic physician, I have a right to view this body from a different plane. My view may not be necessarily complementary to what knowledge so far is relevant, but need not be necessarily exclusive or excluded.
Sciences like anatomy, physiology, preventive medicine and all that, if very judiciously incorporated within the Ayurvedic curriculum, would be really helpful. But for that we need new textbooks. That has been my observation, that now the method is to study Gray's Anatomy but instead, how an Ayurvedist, there should be some people who have worked on that problem. We have an Ayurvedic concept of Shariram, which is a harmonization of both physiology and anatomy. The definition of Sharira is Sharira Sthana. This concept of its mixture of so many things. Ityatra janma maranam yata samyak udahritam sharirasya tata sthanam shariram vimuchyate. Sharira is that branch of knowledge which tells you the entire story about the body right from janma to marana. So Sharira Sthana, in which anatomy and physiology are also included, starts from gestation.
Actually speaking, to effectively communicate Ayurveda using their knowledge base, because human brain is not like a computer disk. You cannot format it, you cannot unlearn what you have learned. So from first standard up to 12th, if you have studied physics, it's really difficult for the boy or the girl to leave that and believe into something overnight, you know. So if I can use his knowledge, like for example, I give you an example. We believe there is something called constitution or prakriti in the body. So at the time of conception, when the male and the female seeds are coming together, the sperm and the ovum and remaining other factors, you have a resultant, what is known as prakriti. And this can be understood by a student of physics who has studied some sound or some light. He knows something as an interference pattern. That means two waves arising at the same point, progressing in the same direction, they emerge as a single wave, having properties of the parent waves as well as some individual properties. This is what is happening with us. You inherit some from your mother, you inherit some from your father, and you exhibit something of your own. So this you have understood, or you have made the person understand the concept of Prakriti using his knowledge, what he was using before, and from there you can tell him that since Ayurveda can be explained from the most contemporary sciences and still holds true, now you can take over from there and use more Ayurvedic principles to understand what Ayurveda is about.
The Ayurvedic spirit is you must see the starting and the end of the Sharira. Trace it out, then embryology comes. Then only physiology and anatomy, and then we must have the knowledge of death also. It's called as Vikriti Vijnana. All these things together constitute what is Sharira. There is no parallel for Sharira in modern system. So there is nothing wrong in using modern concepts of, like Ayurveda would say, what is the sign of death? Modern medicine say brain death, one criteria. Ayurveda also says, Ayurveda says prana viyoga is criteria of death. And prana, the sthana of prana is shira. Prana bhradam mitra, shrita sarvendriyani cha, yaduttamangam angasya shirastada vidhiyate. Shiras is the place where all the pranas are there. And pranaisaha viyoga marana. Pranaisaha samyogam ayu. So amongst all the organs in your body, the most important organ, the murdha or the head, is considered as that which sustains and preserves life. So anything, that is a final thing. So I mean, when you look at some level, you can use a modern information here now.
जो नहीं है उसको है ऐसे समझ करके जो व्यवहार होगा उसका जो फल मिलता है वैसे ही फल आज आपको बाहर दिखाई देते हैं. इसलिए इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच नहीं होना चाहिए. इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच एक शक्यता के हिसाब से यदि विचार करें तो मैं एक दूसरा उदाहरण दूंगा आपको कि ये फ्यूजन नाम का म्यूजिक टाइप आजकल सुनाई देता है कि जिसमें प्राचीन भारतीय संगीत भी है, वेस्टर्न म्यूजिक भी है, मेलोडीज भी हैं, सोनाटास भी हैं और सो ऑन, बहुत सारी चीज़ें. इनको बनाने वाले लोग अपने यहाँ के बड़े बड़े दिग्गज विद्वान हैं, जैसे पंडित रविशंकर जी. वहाँ पर यहूदी मैनुअल, यहाँ पर सितार बजती है, वहाँ वायलिन की जुगलबंदी होती है. ये एक दौर रहा. आजकल तो सीधा फ्यूजन नाम से ही ये म्यूज़िक हो गया है. तो फ्यूजन में क्या होता है वो अलग बात होगी, पर वो फ्यूजन करने वाले जो हैं वो दोनों अपने अपने क्षेत्र के दिग्गज ऐसे जानकार हैं. और यहाँ पर जैसे कि मैं पहले बोल चुका हूँ, वैद्य जो है तैयार हो रहे हैं वो बिल्कुल आयुर्वेद में कच्चे या आयुर्वेद न आने वाले वैद्य. तो इस दर्जे के वैद्य जो हैं वो आकर के जो फ्यूजन करेंगे तो आप सोच सकते हैं क्या होता है.
भेल भी अच्छी लगती है और खिचड़ी भी अच्छी लगती है, जिसको जो खाना है वो खाए।
As modern technology develops at a breakneck speed, and as yesterday's gadgets become obsolete before today arrives, people begin to lose their sense of continuity and find themselves being sucked into black holes of skepticism and doubt. The synthetic, throwaway materialistic values of our time induce a kind of fear in our psyche that is quite unprecedented. At this traumatic juncture, if we look inward and suddenly discover that the values and traditions of our ancestors were healthier and of a more lasting nature, it is but natural. In the introduction of his book on Ayurveda called Prakriti, the Western author Dr. Robert Subodha remembers the statement that Carl Jung had made in 1938 about Indian life. Jung had written, "It is quite possible that India is the real world and that the white man lives in a madhouse of abstractions. Life in India has not yet withdrawn into the capsule of the head. It is still the whole body that lives. No wonder the European feels dreamlike. The complete life of India is something of which he merely dreams." When you walk with naked feet, how can you ever forget the earth?
It's a wonderful perception of the human body right from its origin of conception to the point of its death as a one continuous flow. And then we say it is in this flow that we are. Then comes the Nidana Sthana, Chikitsa Sthana. That background picture is painted before we study pathology and therapeutics. Next comes Chikitsa, Nidana Sthana, Chikitsa Sthana.
You can study all the basics, pathology, physiology, anatomy, biochemistry, whatever you want to study to know the human body and its function, you can. But when it comes to the treatment, it should be Shuddha Ayurveda, no doubt about that.
You cannot compare the diagnostic tool of Ayurveda and allopathy directly because there are different methodologies. Ayurveda is more believing in clinical diagnosis.
Ayurveda uses a very complex diagnostic system where the most sophisticated instruments of the physician, namely his sense organs and mind, are put to rigorous use. The Trividha Pariksha of Darshana, Sparshana and Prashna, observing, touching and asking questions to the patient, is the most reliable diagnostic method that an experienced Ayurveda doctor uses even today.
Darshana Sparshana Prashnaihi Parikshedaccha Roginam Rogam Nidana Pragruva Lakshanopashayaptibhihi.
Darshana Sparshana Prashnaihi Parikshedaccha Roginam Rogam Nidana Pragruva Lakshanopashayaptibhihi.
There is a lot of subjectivity and less of objectivity. This is the criticism which always goes against Ayurveda. But everything which is objective has to be subjective.
According to the classifications in the Vedas, there are 3 types of treatments in the whole world. They are Deva Chikitsa, that's number 1. Deva Chikitsa means spiritual healing. Number 2 is Manusha Chikitsa, Manusha Chikitsa is the treatment with the medicines and therapies, what we have been using today in Ayurveda. And the last one is Asura Chikitsa. Asura Chikitsa is the branch of surgery which is not very much practiced in Ayurveda today.
Kaya Chikitsa. Kayasya Chikitsa. Kaya Agni means Kaya Agni Chikitsa. That is the Agni Chikitsa. First you are taking care of your digestive system, which is the main thing. So then Kaya Agni, which is related with the diseases. Kaya Chikitsa. Complete body. It's not that something. So it is explaining which are the diseases. Jara, the fever, the Shosha, the TB, and the Unmada, all these diseases which is affecting the complete system.
There are three classifications again. The first one is spiritual healing, which is called Deva Vyavashraya Chikitsa. This treatment is mostly used in diseases like mental diseases, psychosomatic problems, stress and strain, and epilepsy. Like that, all the mental diseases are coming into that category.
Kaya Bala, Kaumara Vaidya. It is talking about the children's disease. Along with that, whatever the disease can occur for the children, and about the mother, to take care of the mother during the delivery, after the delivery, to take care. So it is, why it is separated like? The Kaya Chikitsa, there is a dose which can happen for anybody. The age is different. But when it comes to children, there is a difference in the dose, there is a difference in administering the treatment, and there is a disturbance of everything in the treatment, which you should always consider. You will not be able to give the same dose for the child.
We have a lot of choices in Ayurveda. For one disease, there are a lot of different medicines, different combinations, different formulations we are using. And this part of Ayurveda is highly developed today. And mostly, almost 90% of people are using these therapies and medicines. And the last one is Sattvavajaya, that only the physician can advise the patient in Sattvavajaya, because Sattvavajaya is control of the mind. That is to be done by the patient itself.
You are not having any disease, still you are not perfect, you are still not healthy. So we are telling you to take care of this. So Rasayanam is basically not for a person who is diseased, a person who is swastha.
Then Urdhvanga Chikitsa. Urdhvanga Chikitsa is also called Shalakya Tantra. Sushruta is giving more details about the Shalakya Tantra. You can say in modern terms that it is ENT, but actually this is the treatment for the diseases that are formed above the neck region.
Then the next one comes Vajikarna. Vajikarna is only for the Grihastha who is married and he is not having a children, to improve his sexual capacity, to improve his rejuvenation, that capacity to make children, if he is not having, if he is not happy in his life, sexual life.
Then Shalya Chikitsa is the next. Shalya Chikitsa is surgery. It's a dying branch of Ayurveda. And this is a branch that has to be developed and revived.
It does not limit to physical medicine alone. There is a lot of importance given to all this internal powers being generated. This is where you find a Vaidya has to go through the other, which we started doing in our college, where he has to be trained into yoga. Now we even were giving martial arts like Kalaripaita, where we wanted the Vaidya's reflexes to be sharp. Not that he should be in a position to attack someone, but the moment the patient comes, he should be in a position to react and say, these are the problems, which means a fast reflex. So if we can have, I would say only 50% is knowledge of the science, 50% has to be the inner power which has to be generated. Lack of that in physicians is the reason why you find there are two types of physicians, both equally educated and equally qualified, but one has a successful hand and the other one is a failure.
ब्रह्मास्पृत्वा आयुषो वेदं प्रजापतिमजीगृहत् ब्रह्मास्पृत्वा आयुषो वेदं प्रजापतिमजीगृहत् को अश्विनौ तौ सहस्राक्षं सोऽत्रिपुत्रादिकान्मुनि ते अग्निवेशादिकां तेदु पृथक् तन्द्राणि ते निरे ते अग्निवेशादिकां तेदु पृथक् तन्द्राणि ते निरे प्रजापतिमजीग्रह ब्रह्मा कृत्वायुषो वेदम् प्रजापतिमजीग्रह